Bigfoot ornaments are a great way to break up boring straight lines in a stylish manner and can make your Bigfooters really stand out and attract your visitors' attention to valuable footer content. So let's get straight to it. Bigfoot tends to work best in themes with an extra content area at the bottom of the page, and in this theme, Say Design's responsive Aptonon theme, EC5 is the one I use for a footer. So step 1, we'll add an extra content stack to the page, set it to 5, and then drop one of the new responsive templates into that. We'll go for number 5, Holla Yella, which I think is one of the Aussie names for Bigfoot, and we'll quickly add some images to it and pretty it up using some very slick editing techniques. And then we'll add one of our quantum text page templates to the content area so that our big footer is now in context and looks like a big footer. Now in this theme I have to use a little bit of code to override the theme's internal settings in order to get the effect that I want and join the ornament to the footer. Although this won't be necessary in all cases, unfortunately I can't guarantee that these ornaments will work out of the box with every theme, although I can say that they do seem to work much better with themes that have a defined content border. And we'll take a look at some of them next. In the meantime, let's go with ornament 9 and drag that in and drop it just above the footer. First thing we'll do in the stack settings to the right is choose the same color as the footer background so that it blends in seamlessly. Now when we go to preview, we can see the gap between ornament and footer is about 20 pixels. So we'll return to edit mode and adjust the bottom margin in the slider here. Take it down to around -22. And now when we go to preview, we can see the ornament is now perfectly positioned. If you don't want the ornament on the left, then if you adjust the width in the slider here, you'll see it moves across to the center. If you want it on the right, then the simplest way to do that is to use a Bigfoot 2-column stack and then drop the ornament in the right-hand column and reduce its height. Okay, let's move on to another theme, and this time we'll take a look at Joe Workman's powerful new foundation theme. And we can see straight away that our Bigfoot responsive templates are going to work just fine in Foundation, and are actually much easier to incorporate than in some other themes. So let's back up a bit and see how quickly and easily we can build footers like these. And we'll begin by deleting these and starting with a clean slate. First we'll add the site style stack and set the background color to a light grey. Then we'll add a Bigfoot 1-column stack to act as a wrapper. And we'll give it the background color of our footer. Now into that we'll drop a foundation floating body stack. Then in the settings we'll zero all the options and give it the same background color of our footer. Now we can drop in our Bigfoot template, which once again we'll style using some very slick editing techniques. And we'll quickly create some content for the body to push the footer further down the page. And then when we preview, we can see it coming together. Okay, now we can add our wave ornament to the page just above the footer. Set its width to 100% and height to 150 pixels. And its bottom margin to -14 pixels. Set its fill color to the same color as our footer. And then we'll set the ornament's background gradient. Now, if you don't want a gradient and simply want a single color, all you do is set both colors the same. In this case, we want it to blend with the page's background color, so we choose the same light gray. Okay, moving on, let's take a look at Foundation's floating content layout stack. First thing we'll do is we'll give it a nice lively background color. Round corners, drop shadow of 1, and we'll zero out the side padding. Next we'll copy in this content, reduce the margin, and add some buttons. In this case we'll use one of my yet to be released buttons, shine button thing, which we'll configure very quickly. Now we'll add our Cityscape 4 ornament to the page just above the footer. Set its width to 100% and height to 182 pixels and its bottom margin to -32 pixels. We'll set its fill color to the same color as our footer, and then we'll set the ornament's background gradient. This time we'll use the same splash of yellow in our bottom fill and use the top fill to blend it to the same blue as our floating content background. And then preview. One cool footer. Say we wanted to warm it up a bit and make it a little more tropical. We could do that really easily by simply swapping out ornament 9 for ornament 5, setting the height to 290 pixels and the bottom margin to -37 pixels, and this time with a top padding of 26 pixels. And then changing the floating content background to a nice grenadine shade of Tequila Sunrise. And finally set the top fill of the palm trees ornament to blend in seamlessly to the same color. There we go. Okay, moving on from Foundation to one of my favorite minimal themes, Will Woodgate's Flood 3, where we have a couple of nice full-width extra content areas at the bottom of the page, 8 and 9, which we've enabled in the style settings over to the right, and which we can use for our footer and ornament. However, when we go to preview, we can see there's still 25 pixel padding in EC8, which we'll have to override in order to join the ornament to the footer. Now before we start, please remember that this is a hack only, and while it may be workable on a page-to-page basis, it may create unforeseen issues on other pages that you've already set up. But hey, let's live dangerously and go ahead with it anyway. In preview mode, we'll control-click the gap we want to eliminate and select the Inspect Element option, which brings up the Safari developer tools. And here we see the EC8 highlighted, and when we hover over it, we can see the Elements box model with the top and bottom padding shown in green. So if we now click on Styles in the grey toolbar here, you'll see the corresponding lower horizontal bar container div here, and its top and bottom padding of 25 pixels. So if you click on the Styles CSS link below, it will take you to the relevant style in the style sheet, which you can then copy and paste into the custom CSS panel of the page inspector. And all you have to do now is zero out the padding. so. And we now have the ornament joined to the footer. Okay, now let's move on to a couple of Elixir themes, which have a defined and bordered content area. First off is the responsive feather theme, and one of the things I really like in recent Elixir themes is the edge-to-edge toggle function in the style settings that enables you to switch off the internal padding, a feature that makes a lot of sense these days when building responsive sites. So let's go ahead and enable content area edge-to-edge. And once we've done that, it's really straightforward. We just drop in our footer. This time we'll use Sasquatch and change its background color. Add our ornament, in this instance number 8. Set its height to 185 pixels and the bottom margin to -66 pixels with a top padding of 0. And blend it into the content area background color with a top fill and a slightly darker yellow in the bottom fill. Preview, and there you have it. In the second Elixir theme, Iconic, we can once again make use of the content edge-to-edge toggle function in the advanced style settings. And then it's just a matter of dropping in our Bigfoot footer at the bottom of the page, colouring it, and then adding our ornament, this time number 1, immediately above it. And matching the colour before setting its width to 75 and its height to 202 and the bottom margin to -18 and a top padding of 0. And there we have it. Bigfoot ornaments in action.